The series opens 24 years before the greatest heist ever, with Ray breaking into the mansion of a wealthy man. He manages to slip inside after disabling the security cameras and alarm system, allowing him to move freely without alerting the police. Meanwhile, Roger, Ray's partner, is keeping the mansion owner occupied, engaging him in conversation to buy Ray more time to crack the safe hidden inside the walk-in closet. Eventually, it's back to the mansion, where Ray is already inside. The moment Roger enters, he leaves the girls with the owner and rushes upstairs to check on Ray. The safe proves far more complex than expected, forcing them to work together longer than turning to the girls downstairs. The moment the coast is clear, Roger rushes back, knowing Ray is hiding inside the safe and could suffocate if left any longer. He opens it just in time. Ray escapes through the balcony, while Roger stays behind to continue his performance. Later, the two reunite at their usual spot, relieved and satisfied that the heist succeeded once again thanks to Ray's sharp mind. Ray returns home to his wife and daughter, Hannah, living together in a modest house. He takes Hannah out for breakfast, only to receive a call from Roger about a new job that requires traveling again. Before leaving, Ray meets Eva, their associate responsible for selling stolen jewelry and watches. She urges him to aim higher, insisting his talent could bring in far more money. Ray refuses, explaining that larger targets mean greater risk, and risking his freedom would mean losing his family. Eva understands, pointing out that most thieves she works with have no families to lose. She takes the stolen goods, promising to sell them and split the profits fairly. By the end of the day, Ray sits with his wife Layla, confessing his desire to quit theft for good. She already knows he is a professional safecracker. Ray explains his plan to open an auto parts business so they can finally live in peace. Layla encourages him, promising her full support. Soon after, he is retired. 8 months later, Ray and Layla manage to open their own final heist. Later that day, Ray visits the hotel where Layla works, bringing Hannah with him. While waiting at the reception, suddenly, Hannah screams. Ray rushes toward the sound and finds Layla's manager grabbing his daughter, attempting to throw her out for playing in a restricted area. Ray pulls Hannah away and confronts the manager, while Layla desperately tries to calm the situation. The manager responds coldly, declaring that Layla never should have brought her child and orders her, her daughter, and her husband to leave the hotel immediately. Layla follows him, apologizing and begging him to reconsider firing her. Ray, holding his daughter tightly, walks out of the hotel with a decision already made. He will steal the jewel from the charity auction as revenge. He begins planning the heist with Roger, this time hiding the truth from Layla, unable to face her with the plan despite everything that happened. When the day arrives, Ray infiltrates the hotel disguised as a waiter, carefully avoiding Layla's manager. Meanwhile, Layla stays home with Hannah until she receives a phone call from the same manager, demanding she return to the hotel immediately to help with the financial accounts. Layla returns to the hotel while Ray has already reached the room where the jewelry is stored. He hides immediately after Roger warns him that someone is approaching. Ray waits until security leaves the room, then begins stealing the jewelry. However, the process takes longer than he anticipated. He fails to properly hide both himself and his equipment. Moments later, security re-enters the room, notices him, and threatens him at gunpoint, ordering him to come out of hiding. Suddenly, Roger appears from behind, strikes the guard, and knocks him unconscious. He sets the room on fire to buy them more time, allowing both of them to escape the hotel. On the way out, Ray notices his wife's car and realizes Layla is still inside. Without hesitation, he rushes back into the hotel to save her, knowing she never made it out with the others. He finds her collapsed on the floor, dizzy from the smoke and surrounded by flames. Ray desperately tries to reach her, but a metal barrier blocks his path. Roger reaches her from the other side. At that moment, police sirens grow louder. Faced with a choice, Roger decides to flee instead of saving his friend's wife, disappearing from the scene. Ray is left watching as Layla's life slips away before his eyes. Despite suffering severe burns, Ray eventually breaks through and reaches her, just as firefighters arrive and pull them both out. Layla is rushed to the hospital, but it is already too late. She does not survive. Ray later sits in the hospital with her without looking back. Spotting Eva approaching, Ray sends Hannah to her, so she will not see him being arrested. He is taken into custody for the hotel robbery and for betraying his partner, eventually being sent to prison. Time passes. 7 years remain until the events of the heist catch up to the present. Ray is now in a prison cell, having spent years behind bars for the hotel item requested by one gang, only to be watched by a rival gang that decides to attack him to prevent him from helping anyone else. They corner him in the kitchen where he works. Ray, watching everything unfold, steps in before they can finish beating Stan. Ray gives them a choice: either leave Stan alone and walk away, because if they continue beating him, Stan will suffer all night and Ray will not be able to sleep, or kill him right now and be done with it. The gang chooses to leave. As a result, Ray saves Stan, and over time, the two grow very close after everything they endure together in prison. As the day, Stan takes him to the prison hospital to get checked. Stan later returns alone because he has a visit scheduled with Judy. She brings and returns to Ray. He learns that Ray is suffering from an incurable illness with no fixed timeline for death. It could happen at any moment. Ray decides he must escape. After 17 years in prison, he believes he has paid enough. He offers Stan a chance to escape with him. Stan initially refuses, knowing he has only 6 months left before his release. Later, Judy helps Ray escape, escape and decides to flee alongside him. He spikes the prisoner's breakfast with hallucinogenic mushrooms to distract attention. Ray requests to be taken to the infirmary, while Stan deliberately injures himself to be sent there as well. Both men are locked inside as all guards are called to the dining hall, where inmates are laughing, dancing, and causing chaos. Ray uses a soap-carved copy of the gate key he prepared earlier and begins trying to open the door. The process takes 2 escapes the prison, hiding inside the doctor's car. He conceals himself behind the back of the seat rather than the trunk, ensuring that even if the vehicle is searched, no one will find him. The escape works. Ray immediately heads to Eva's place, explaining that he wants to leave the country, but only after seeing his daughter, so she can finally understand how he ended up in prison. Despite the warning, Ray goes to the company and asks to speak to Hana, even if only for a minute. He apologizes for everything she endured because of him, adding that her mother would have been proud of her. Hana immediately shuts him down, telling him never to mention her mother again. She reminds him that she needed him the most, that the last time she tried to visit him in prison, she was only 13 years old, that she sold her bicycle just to afford a bus ticket, and when she finally arrived, he refused to see her. Ray explains that he did it so she could have a better life, the life she is living now. Hana walks away and returns to her company. Ray follows her inside, only to stop cold when he sees her standing next to Roger. Confused by the connection between his former partner and his daughter, Ray retreats immediately, determined to understand what is really happening. He turns to Eva once more, asking her to end the manhunt for him. Eva stages his death by burning an unidentified body and swapping its dental records with Ray's, officially declaring him dead in police and investigative files. She provides him with a new identity, Leo, allowing him to disappear until his next move is clear. Ray soon learns that Hana works for Roger's company, that Roger hired her after she graduated from college. At that moment, Ray makes his decision. Roger will pay. He sends Hana a letter detailing every dark truth about Roger's life, determined to show her who she is truly working for. Years pass. 6 weeks before the heist, Hana is promoted inside Roger's rapidly rising company. Her role is to help Roger identify security vulnerabilities in major banks and facilities so his firm can later secure them. One of her assignments involves gathering information on a coincidentally the same password used to access the vault. Hana breaks into the vault and steals several gold bars. Roger presents the stolen bars to Steve, their rightful owner, revealing that he took them 9 days earlier with ease. He argues that this alone proves Steve's current vault is not secure, and that any new bonds Steve plans to store will only be safe inside a vault designed by Roger himself. The argument works. Roger convinces him to store bonds worth $7 billion under his protection. Meanwhile, escape. Ray eventually finds him. The moment Stan sees Ray, he knows exactly why he is there. Stan immediately says no, explaining that he has retired, that his focus is now on caring for his mother, and that he must respectfully decline without even knowing the plan. Ray finally reveals the truth. The target is $7 billion. The vault lies deep underground, encased in reinforced concrete, protected by sensors, powered by an independent energy unit, and guarded by elite security teams. The bonds belong to a group known as the Trinity, one of the largest shareholders in Korea's biggest bank, a legendary banking pioneer worth a fortune, and Steve, the CEO of a Swiss bank. Each of them controls more than $500 billion. The bonds are untraceable, making them the perfect target. They are stored inside Roger's vault, secured by Roger's own team, including Hana and Andrew, the head of security protocols. Ray already knows exactly who he needs. One of them is a chemist. That leads them to Judy, the best chemist Stan has ever known. However, they have not spoken in years. Judy is now with Bob, just as Stan always feared. Ray and Stan visit her. Bob joins the conversation, insisting that his wife will not participate alone. He claims that he is the best safecracker among them, arguing that the mission cannot rely solely on Ray, whose trembling hand could cause failure. Bob's presence, he insists, would increase their chances. Ray agrees, as long as Bob can deliver what is required. He makes one thing clear: the operation is far from guaranteed. They can walk away and remain poor, or take the risk and become rich. Once the meeting ends, it quickly becomes clear that they need $350,000 to acquire the necessary equipment. Ray proposes robbing a betting office to raise the money. However, to raise the required funds in time. At that point, Bob offers an alternative: Diamond Street, a place filled with countless diamond shops displaying massive quantities of gems. The entire area is under heavy surveillance, monitored by cameras, private security firms, and undercover guards. If they manage to steal the diamonds, they can sell them and fully fund the operation. The heist begins. Each member takes position along Diamond Street, waiting for the signal. Judy prepares a chemical compound that releases a thick cloud of smoke, instantly blinding visibility across the street. As the smoke spreads, the team equips protective masks. Undercover officers are electrocuted with tasers, while the crew clears diamonds from nearby stores. Then Bob grows greedy and reaches for a diamond bracelet inside one of the shops. His mistake draws the attention of 2 armed guards who open fire to protect the store. A bullet strikes Bob's hand. Despite the chaos, the entire team manages to escape. Soon after, Hana discovered that a colleague has been promoted instead. Roger addresses the staff, announcing that there is a traitor among them. He reveals that he identified the traitor as Andrew, head of security protocols, after discovering uncovering a yellow flash drive containing sensitive company data that Andrew intended to sell. Roger fires him on the spot, warning that if any confidential information ever leaks, he will trace it back without hesitation. Moments later, Roger informs Hannah that she has been promoted to first deputy director. He explains that he needs someone he can trust close to him. Hannah is thrilled by the promotion. After work, Hannah meets her father. She has been fully aware of the heist all along. She is the invisible soldier inside Roger's company. Still, as the operation draws closer, fear begins to creep in. She warns Ray that stealing from the Trinity could get him killed, that Roger's company would collapse if the theft succeeds, and that her own career would be completely destroyed. Ray responds calmly, reminding her that she will be rich and independent, needing no one. He tells her they have planned this operation together for 7 years, and the time to act has finally arrived. Hannah returns home. On her table lies the yellow flash drive Roger found in Andrew's bag. It becomes clear that Hannah herself planted the seed of doubt in Roger's mind, orchestrating Andrew's dismissal so she could rise in his place. Everything was planned by her and by Ray. 3 weeks pass. Only 3 weeks remain until the heist. They secure solid evidence against Eva. At the same time, Eva prepares the stolen jewelry to sell it to her dealer. Bob insists on accompanying her. That's worried about the diamonds. The dealer offers $400,000, explaining that the gems are stolen and must be sold outside the United States since their designs are easily recognizable. Eva agrees and collects the cash. They return to the crew's meeting location. Ray makes it clear that this money is not disposable income. Each person will receive a fixed share, strictly to be spent on essential tools and equipment only. He lays out a precise timeline that everyone must follow. Eva uses her share to render unmistakable. The investigator informs Eva that her fingerprint was found on a bullet fired during the Diamond Street robbery. Eva remains unfazed, stating that she previously reported 2 stolen firearms from her home and that whoever robbed her must be responsible for the Diamond Street crime. She insists she has nothing more to say. Once the interrogation ends, Eva notices Abbasi watching. She immediately realizes who is behind the investigation. Eva contacts Ray, informing him of what happened and warning that they must take extra precautions moving forward. Eva returns home and is confronted by Bob, who demands a larger cut. Eva shuts him down, making it clear he is only tolerated because of Judy's skills. She offers him $10,000 for his injured hand and orders him to stay away permanently. Unbeknownst to them, Detective Abbasi is watching from a distance and photographing everything, though she is forced to leave abruptly for a missed court session. Back at the office, her partner Toby reviews Eva's growing case file. Abbasi explains that Bob is a known safecracker, married to Judy, a chemist previously investigated for explosives, and that both were staying near Diamond Street, suggesting the robbery was only the first step of a larger operation. Toby agrees to help. Meek must have a hidden accomplice, likely his original hotel heist partner. Back at the hideout, Ray reveals they obtained a replica of the target vault, but it requires 2 keys turned simultaneously, something Bob cannot do anymore. Eva urgently contacting her career. Eva tells Ray she is withdrawing from the operation to protect the team, but will assist from a distance. The next day, Abbasi loses custody of her child. Desperate, she targets Eva again, reporting Eva's elderly caretaker to immigration and using her arrest to blackmail Eva into betraying the team. Eva claims she has already been expelled and is useless to Abbasi. Abbasi orders her to find a way back in. Eva meets Ray, asks to rejoin, and he agrees. With 5 days left, Ray gathers the team and lays out the plan. The heist requires 7 missions. The first, copying encrypted transmission chips from Roger's armored vehicle before it enters the garage. Before reaching the vault corridor, they must neutralize 2 guards, then unlock the corridor door using a copied key. Next comes a biometric system that recognizes Roger's walk, posture, and physical profile, forcing the team to move all equipment through the passage silently. The vault itself is protected by 3 locks: facial recognition, a specialized tool-based lock, and a digital code. The final challenge is transporting bonds weighing nearly 1 ton to the upper floor, all within 1 hour. As Roger prepares to store Steve's bonds inside the vault, Ray secretly breaks into Roger's home, stealing his fingerprints and tampering with his contact lens to replicate his eye scan. That same night, Roger attends a private gathering with the Trinity, who pressure him to convert their bonds into less suspicious assets. Shortly afterward, Roger receives anonymous threats claiming nothing in his life, his past, his family, or even his vault is safe. Another, he sees a doctor. The doctor turns out to be Stan, allowing the team to capture Roger's eye scan. Roger later traces the blackmail attempt to Andrew, but before he can act, Andrew is assassinated by Roger's head of security, silencing him permanently. Ray warns the team about a critical vault feature that could kill them all if mishandled. He sets the rules. If they succeed, they regroup at the safe house. If they fail, they scatter and reunite at a new location 3 days later. Eva prepares fake passports and identities. She secretly tips off Abbasi that the operation will happen that night, revealing the building but not the floor. DJ disguises their truck to match Roger's Roger's armored transport. On a stormy night, Ray signals the move. Judy enters first through underground tunnels beneath the vault. DJ hacks the garage gate, electrocuting the guard at the entrance. Bob and Stan steal the access key, take the elevator, while Ray and Eva arrive separately. They deploy gas to knock out remaining guards. To bypass the motion sensors in the vault corridor, the team releases a swarm of bees, overwhelming the system. Ray, wearing a camouflage suit, slips through undetected while hacked cameras loop old footage of an empty vault. Facial recognition is fooled using Roger's data. Inside, they wait for Judy to disable the heat sensors. Her tunnel breach floods the vault area faster than expected, forcing them to work under extreme time pressure. Bob and Stan begin opening the vault doors one by one, extracting the bonds. As the operation unfolds, Eva distances herself and sends Abbasi the final message, confirming the heist is happening on the 59th floor. Abbasi fake camera feed. Abbasi cuts the cables, restoring the real footage, though Roger fails to notice at first, distracted by a call with his son. When he finally sees the live feed, he realizes the vault is being robbed and immediately calls Hana. Ray and his team successfully extract the bonds and send them to DJ in the garage, but the transfer stops at the first office. Hana secretly emerges, unseen by the team, and, as part of a hidden plan with her sister, swaps the bonds for blank paper, leaving only the first sheet real. Ray completes the main theft and decides to open Roger's personal vault as well. At that, Stan escapes separately, pursued by Bob and Judy. Meanwhile, Ray remains inside the vault and tells Eva to flee. The money was never his real goal. Eva escapes through the garage, is shot in the arm by Abbasi, but manages to get away. She later finds Bob unconscious, knocked out by Judy, and leaves him behind. Back inside, Ray is confronted by Roger's head of security, who is about to kill him. Hana intervenes, knocks the guard out, and helps her father up. Ray realizes Hana has stolen the bonds herself. She explains that she did it to protect him from the Trinity, who would have killed him, and that she plans to return the bonds through Roger and launder the money legally using insurance coverage. She asks Ray to trust her. Ray leaves her and returns to the vault one last time, placing the antique jewel he stole years earlier into Roger's personal safe. He escapes before the vault floods, retrieves his backup car, and heads to his hideout to disappear. There, he meets Judy and Stan. Judy reveals the bond truck vanished. Bob is gone and she doesn't know where the bonds are. Stan arrives, admitting he used Uber to get there. Ray concludes that a traitor stole the bonds and insists they leave immediately before evidence leads back to them. Roger and Hana finally registered to. They track Stan to his family's home. Pretending Stan is in danger, they pressure his mother and sister for information. When the sister hesitates, Roger's security chief kills both women, takes her phone, and locates Stan. Meanwhile, the team waits at their hideout, suspecting a traitor. Eva suddenly arrives driving the bond vehicle. She is wounded and claims she found the truck abandoned outside the company and fled with it, adding that she saw Bob dead on the road. Judy collapses in grief. When the bond case opens, they discover it contains only colored paper. The bonds were swapped. Roger's security team attacks the hideout. A brief shootout follows. Stan is slightly wounded, forcing the group to surrender. Judy reveals the real bonds are hidden in a nearby safe. Ray ambushes the security chief, kills him, and helps the team escape to the harbor, where they flee by boat. Police later raid Ray's hideout, finding the bodies of Roger's security team, prompting an immediate warrant against Roger. Investigators force Roger to open his vault. Though he claims the contents were moved, Abbasi orders his personal safe opened, revealing the antique jewel stolen years earlier. Roger is arrested. 6 months later, police identify all members of the crew, including Ray as the mastermind. Abbasi is determined to capture them all. Bob is revealed to be alive. Desperate and broke, he approaches Roger in prison, admitting he stole the bonds and offering to return them for money. Roger refuses, sentenced to 20 years, but agrees to fund Bob with $200,000 on one condition: Bob must kill Ray. Ray is living in isolation with Eva, his health rapidly deteriorating. Bob tracks Eva by killing her fence and tracing her address. Meanwhile, Stan and Judy she and Ray must flee immediately. Bob manages to track down Eva's address. He and an accomplice break into the house, overpower Ray and Eva, and tie them up. Under Bob's orders, Ray is forced to call Stan and arrange a meeting point. Bob then heads to that location, intending to see his wife and kill Stan, leaving his accomplice behind to guard Ray and Eva, still bound inside the house. As soon as Bob arrives at the meeting spot, the police are already there. They confront him, he tries to attack, and the situation ends with Bob being killed. Hearing the sounds of the clash, Judy approaches the area. She finds Bob's car parked nearby with a bag full of cash inside. She takes the money, decides to disappear, and leaves Stan behind without looking back. At the same time, Ray struggles to free himself and Eva. Eva manages to get up and attempts to grab a weapon, but Bob's accomplice notices her and kills her. Ray then kills the accomplice as well. He collapses to the floor, devastated, realizing that he has now lost everything. Ray decides to call his daughter, whom he has been avoiding for a long time, to keep her away from suspicion. She shows him her child. Ray breaks down in tears as he sees his granddaughter, apologizing to his daughter for all the mistakes he made throughout his life, and greeted her. With her death, the case case is quietly closed. Ray later visits Roger in prison. He tells Roger that the man he sent to kill him will never see him again because he is already dead. Ray says he is finally at peace, having taken his revenge, and that everything could have been different if Roger had helped his wife Layla from the beginning. Ray leaves Roger behind and walks out of the prison. Ray is later seen walking through a garden, carrying a bag with his clothes. Suddenly, someone appears behind him and kills him. The identity of the person and who sent him remains unknown. Ray's life ends calmly, satisfied that he carried out the revenge he spent years planning and reassured that his daughter is safe.